Welcome to the module on using the VB MAPP for IEP and goal development. This is the fifth and last component of the VB MAPP. IEP and goal development can be found in your guidebook starting on page 147. Most of the important information will be found on the scoring forms. The most important thing to do here is to determine the general level of the student. For example, a student with most, but not all, of the milestones filled in on the Level 1 Milestones Assessment is a Level 1 student. Our main goal in using the VB MAPP to guide our IEPs is to make sure that they are creating a program that will give a student a balanced skill set. This is why it is important to locate the relative strengths, weaknesses, and gaps that exist in a student's profile. Let's take a look at IEP goal development using the information from each assessment in the VB MAPP. The guide provides special considerations for each level, specific directions for each of the 170 milestones in the milestone assessment, and suggestions for IEP goals. The IEP goals located in the guide are great starting points, but they cannot be used verbatim. When reviewing the goal suggestions, you'll notice that the suggested goals are lacking criteria and are not aligned with the standards. This is why we can start here for IEP goal suggestions, but must move beyond the examples to create goals that meet all of the district and state requirements. Because significant barriers can present a problem for multiple academic objectives, it is important to set goals to reduce those barriers that are persistent and severe. These barriers are scored a 3 and a 4 on your barriers assessment. Targeting interventions for these barriers will pave the way for the student to make progress on their milestones. Sometimes the removal or reduction of a single barrier will result in progress in several areas. The transition assessment is a tool designed to identify whether a child is making meaningful progress and has acquired or is working towards the skills necessary for learning in a less restrictive educational environment. We should always be looking forward when programming for a student. Within the transition assessment, there is a large range of information that can help point the IEP team in the direction of a journal type of program, IEP priorities, and specific IEP goals. This assessment facilitates objectivity when programming for a student. Now that we have discussed the three main assessments, let's look at an example of an IEP goal recommendation found in the VB MAPP guidebook. Remember that specific goals can be found in the VB MAPP guidebook starting on page 147. The first goal reads, the student will man for 50 different missing items with only verbal prompts. And the second goal is, the student will spontaneously man for other individuals to omit 10 different specific actions in a place setting, game, or other natural environment setting. These two goals roughly correspond with milestones 6 and 7 under the Level 2 Man milestone. These are both good and rigorous goals for our students. But what are they missing? Thinking back to previous trainings on goal development, what do these two goals need before going into the IEP? They are missing criteria and alignment. Goals can be found for self-help deficits as well as transition issues as well. These are critical skill areas that should not be overlooked when developing the IEP. At the end of this course, you will find a handout in the materials section for self-help skills. The last point we'd like to make is that assessment drives instruction. The failure to conduct an appropriate assessment results in one of the biggest problems in educational programs, an inappropriate curriculum. How do we prevent this problem? We go through a 5-step process of determining where a student is, deciding where the student needs to go, teaching the student using evidence-based practices, checking to see if the student made it through data collection, and analyzing the results to plan the next steps. This is an ongoing process as we move towards our student making meaningful progress.